Too sacred.
You're not a virgin again.
No, I'm not a virgin.
Hey, Jesus.
More than 1 million sex escapades.
Yeah.
And I love them.
Hi, I'm Nona.
Hello, Majoke.
Welcome to our YouTube channel.
So we're having a conversation about sex. My children are still virgins, so we have to
Close their ear.
Yes.
Well, make sure you don't talk in cat language.
Yes. So, the discussion will be around sex education. The sex education, for me, the sex education I had while growing up, the effects.
Do you really have any sex education growing up?
We didn't really. Everything about sex just seemed sacred.
Yeah.
You shouldn't go there.
Right.
Like, no, you can't even talk about it. If you talk about it, that means you're already shady.
I think if you do a survey about this, like an interview, what did you learn about sex? Like, do you remember being taught about sex as a child?
I was never taught about sex as a child. As I said earlier, my parents attended, they are still attending. You know what that feels like. Sex is not something to even mention.
Sometimes I wonder, honestly, why what Abrahamic religions, what they have against sex. They seem to be like fixated on sex.
The funny thing is that it's not even the fact that they don't even like to even mention it in the Bible. They will tell you Noah went into. What is there?
Exactly. See, okay, one thing is, I wonder why they are fixated, but at the same time, you have to understand why they are fixated.
Okay.
You get, I feel like sex is an important part of humans, you get, like it's very vital from when we were from childhood to adulthood. We are very sexual beings, you get. So I believe maybe the first guy who came across, religion was taught, maybe they had sex or something. You feel like shit, this is so good. And
we
like,
can't. Yeah. Sorry, I cut you off.
And so maybe they had sex, and the sensation was crazy, and they felt like, nah, we have to control this shit. Else, man, if we let people have this anyhow, they are going to like, kill everybody to have it. So they have to like create a form of control around it. I know this is like a silly theory, but I think it's sort of like makes sense, because the whole idea about don't have sex with this, don't have sex with this, don't have all of that. While we were just, I
think, to be fair, they are trying to just maintain some sort of control, so that we won't just be barbaric.
Bad.
Yeah, so we won't just be barbaric. We won't have, those times this person is yours. You have to stay with your husband. So it makes it better. But what may I have against that is that they are subjecting women as subpar, like below the men. It's men that have the power to choose. Any sex education for women it depends on your husband.
Yeah, true is, most religions, in their early days were around the times where, patriarchy was,
patriarchy has always been the soul of religion.
Honestly, you get, and so most of the whole control was, strongly around, women.
Yes.
You get, and even though sometimes, we can't totally say the whole sex thing was totally against women, you get, but
you can't totally, don't even tell me that, because it is women that they will say you lost your virginity. They make us subjected to something.
Is that totally the fault of religion?
It is, because
how
religion and culture comes hand in hand. So they tend to.
What part of religion mandated the society to always watch out for women? I think they are part of
Every part. Look at when you're talking about virgins that carry lamb, and also
Virgin Mary.
And also the
Right,
culture itself treats
right.
maiden, that's virgins, as like the soul of maybe purity. They thought of make virginity, so they subject us under.
You have a point. Sorry, I'm cutting you. Like, you have a point. I'm just thinking about it right now. Like, why do they attribute? Okay, you talked about it earlier that they try to make sex sacred. Okay, and that's when you say something about making people who are virgins pure.
Yeah.
Why? How did they, like, thinking about it? Yes, back it was easy. Not it was easy, but that was how I grew up. That's how I understood all of these life things. But right now, thinking about it, why do you attribute virginity to purity? Like,
because it feels like you haven't been stained, not necessarily. Maybe the stain that even come after this being the hymen getting
broken.
Yes, is also part of it. Like, oh, somebody have tampered with you. More like something is wrapped.
Not whole again.
Yeah, something is wrapped in a package. Then you just open it, you expose it. So that's what I think. That's even what encourage science to research about hymen and the likes, because this thing is getting too much. Like, the definition of a woman, a complete woman, is defined around that.
You remember in school, Raja's class, I think it was in our third year, where we were supposed to have this dialogue around who is responsible for what is virginity and
yes,
yes. Remember I was fascinated with that course.
Yes, sir.
But somehow people don't like talking about stuff like that. I'm like, we should talk about things like that. This is why all of these stereotypes they keep going on and all of that. People don't want to change stuff like this.
You can't even ask your parents about sex, like, before. The only time you even have the right to even ask them about sex, maybe on your wedding day, and you're having like a discussion prior to the wedding.
It's so awkward. Like,
and it's so awkward.
There's one thing I want. Okay, before I go on, let me just see the question, because I don't want this to be too long.
If you're enjoying this discussion, guys, like and subscribe.
So, like, the first question. Sorry, we got carried away with the conversation. The first question I wanted to ask was, were you taught, sex? Are you taught about sex? Are you given a sex education?
The sex education will be abstinence, and it's not as if I was sat down and spoken to. Is a thing that is flying around. Maybe you did something wrong, when we be like, that's your midday, she's already pregnant and she's still in primary 6. So the fear and everything, if you should live a life like this, that means you are nothing, you amount to nobody. You get? So it started sort of building like a dream, like, I don't want to be this girl. That is practically the only sex education. And you can't sit down with male. You have to, and the funniest thing is that it's not a man's duty to be responsible in churches. Like, it's a female duty, it's a female thing to keep yourself away from boys. Just like what happened with rape victim, and like, they will tell you that, why do you wear short skirt, and like, so in churches it's your responsibility to be away from boys. Maybe there was a time I got a jean skirt like that, and it was slitted. The usher took me to the back, so I won't be seducing anybody. You get? So it's like a female thing. Like, you are the one that you have to be sacred and clean, and it feels, the way religion goes about it, it feels, when you have done that, like, have sex, you are unclean, and the continual need for you to pray for purification and everything, especially when you're not in the marriage line. I remember, even as an adult, after school, my service year, I actually love sex right from childhood. I told you that as a child, I used to read all these hints. I found them somehow. I don't know. So it was like my best friend, my best storybook. I love reading romantic and sexual things as early as 7 or so. So I remember this time when I was in NYC, we had one video like that. Before the video, I went to have sex with somebody. Like, the video was meant to start around at 11. I went to have sex around at 10 p.m. I got to the vigil. I felt so dirty. I felt so unclean. As in, everybody knew that I was this jovial person in church. I'm always dancing. I'm always, oh, God did this. One usher came to meet me that, babe, what happened to you today? Like this.
Guilt. So guilt.
I'm telling you. I don't know if it's the same with guys, but this out of making you feel filthy because of sex, and it's not even because you're even doing it alone. Talking about it. Imagine being in a workers' meeting as early when we're still young and you're talking about, what do you think about sex? They look at you as devil incarnate or something. So the only this thing I've had, sex education, is just like a street say thing, and it's more abusive, because they tend to use that one as an example that you ought to be like that, and you just don't want to be like that. Somebody that is with unwanted pregnancy, you get. So, and I think because of the fact that there is more consequences for female, so instead of telling you that this is sex education, instead of educating you about sex, they rather tell you about the repercussion.
And they even tell you guys. You don't even talk about sex to guys.
To guys, yeah.
I don't remember. In fact, it's crazy, but I know we didn't even talk about sex. You get, if somebody has pregnancy in here, when you're pregnant, you'll be like, oh, see that girl. So she said before, Kavi.
But even if you guys don't talk about sex, they still make it like it's a powerful thing.
The crazy thing is, you have so many children everywhere. You're constantly having this shit behind us and all of that. But you don't talk about it. And then the only place you get introduced to anything sex education is not even that, maybe it's a form of education, child. You see a child, acting in ways. When we were younger, there are times you see babies, performing.
It's not babies. We ourselves, we did mommy and daddy.
I did. All of us did. Honestly, that's the truth. But it's happening under the noses of our parents. And I'm sure they did the same thing to their own parents too. And you don't think, you have to take out time to teach your children about sex.
Truth be told, my own mommy and daddy even went so real. Like, I literally tell the guy where to put his dick, and man,
it's crazy.
It's too sacred.
You're not a virgin again.
No, I'm not a virgin.
Hey, Jesus.
More than 1 million sex escapades.
Yeah.
And I love them. You are. There's no way. Can you imagine? We are going to take it to the altar.
Okay, we've condemned. In fact, you made me. You thought you made me. You're going to give me job with editing this video because you mentioned the names of a church, and we can't have that because we don't want enemies. We want friends.
I didn't say what they said was wrong.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. You don't mention churches.
Oh, sorry.
Or, there are things you cannot touch because they are sacred, just like sex. Except they are not, you get. But I was going to ask you what would you do differently? Because, research has shown, it is obvious, it's a fact that abstinence only sex education doesn't work. It didn't work in China, it didn't work, there's a whole lot of research about that. It didn't work in China, it didn't work in China. It didn't work. It didn't work in the US, obviously it didn't work in the UK. It's not working in Nigeria, it's never going to work. In fact, people who, I think growing up, most people who are very strict about abstinence only sex education are usually sorry I'm saying are usually the children are usually cleggy people. You get cleggy,
and their children even end up biting them.
The crazy thing is, I know this my angle is very, very subjective, you get, but the craziest thing is those are the guys I found out that are wild, sexually, compared to us. I was a church boy, and yes, I had quite early sex, You get, I was out of rebellion, you know, I just wanted to test that shit.
Exactly, that rebellion has always been a reason why people do things.
And somehow the way they go about it is they don't come and teach you about sex. They just want to threaten you, like threaten you about everything.
So people
if you do this, if you get somebody pregnant, you're going to do this, or you do that, if you get, you know, nobody talks, or you go to hellfire, nobody, even pregnancy is a long shot. Nobody even talks about that. They talk about hell. You have sex, you go to hell, all of that. And, you know, at some point, you know, even for strong religious, you don't see hell. That's not even a good motivation factor. Not going to, you know, at some point they're going to think,
sometimes it's not a good motivating factor.
You get, well, what would you do differently?
What I would have done, okay.
Let's say you have kids right now. What would you do differently?
One thing that people don't do is that if you want to excel in something, and parenthood is not even crossed out of that, what should I put it, that
Category.
list,
Okay.
yes, category, you have to study about it. People think it's not something. You can't read about parenthood. You can read from people's histories, how they have failed, and what somebody have written scientifically and explicitly.
Like, be intentional. You said this, like, it's the same approach most Africans, okay, let me not say Africa, most people have towards business and money too. You want to make money, you want to be successful, you don't read about money. It's crazy, like, we need money, but you don't read about money. You have kids, we have sex every day, but you don't read about sex. You're not educated about sex. You're not educated on how to take care of your kids. You're not educated about money.
And then you go ahead the funniest thing is that things that don't work, they pass it from one generation to another. And imagine if you go into studying about parenthood, like, how do you?
Many will do better. I swear.
And there are sex education that are prescribed to age. Like, there are things you can't tell a 4-year-old. So when you study, like, you are intentional about knowing about parenthood.
That's the word.
That's what I would have done differently.
Many parents are not intentional about parenthood.
At all. They don't even plan raising a child.
In fact, how would you be intentional? Most people will not be, like, this is not a drive about religion, yeah? But if you believe, you know, sometimes people are not, we don't about Christianity, because there are some Christians or Muslims who are very intentional about their kids. I just think it's irresponsibility. Because you can't have kids and not, you know. And then, it's not just irresponsibility, it's also a form of insecurity. Because the way most people, I've not, you know, I've been around Africans the most, you get. The way most Africans, you know, take care of their kids, the way they groom their kids, and I know it's not just Africans, it's a universal thing for some people. The way some people take care of their kids is from a place of hurt. They are hurt, and they project that hurt into their children. They are insecure about something. They're insecure about something. So they like
so many emotions they haven't dealt with.
Exactly, and they now transfer it to those kids. You know, you see many of how many people, how many. See, the truth is, for most people, you know, having a real rapport with your parents is like
it's unheard of.
It's very rare. Most people don't. And if there's anything I want to change, that's it. I want to have my kids talk to me about everything. I'd rather have my kids I'd rather be the one to educate my kids about sex than have them go learn it from, you know, Pornhub or something, or have them go learn it from some dude who learned from Pornhub and all of that.
Bad idea to learn.
Why would you learn? Are you okay?
Seriously, sexual movies are also educative too. It depends on the angle you turn to it.
It's too dangerous to allow that. You know why? How many sexual movies are educative? You get?
Who said they won't watch it anyway?
Exactly. It's not a problem. They are going to. It's the internet. Yeah, we are like in the internet. The internet is everywhere. We've even past we can't say we are an internet age anymore, because that's like years back. We're deep into that shit right now. So everybody is going to go through the internet and watch one thing or the other. But it's still safe if they have the guidance of an intentional and loving adult.
And one thing I will do differently is initiating that control part of sex education. This has really affected so many people, in the sense that, let me even start from abortion and contraceptive pill and condoms. The only reason why some people know condoms is because of HIV and STI. Some of them don't even know. Even I will praise the medical line for doing more, for infiltrating the society more with child control, birth control, and like. But some people don't even know. They still make the fact that abortion and the likes is not legalized in so many countries can be an issue too. But it's not by force that when you get pregnant, because of the culture and everything, you will be pushed into, you have to get married. This make people not to, it disrupts so many people's plan. Yes, we know you have to be intentional about raising a child and the likes, but is expected of an adult that is sexually active to get pregnant, and then you get pregnant and there is no solution, and the only solution is just to give birth to the child.
You said something about abortion being illegal in many countries. Truth is, there are so many things that are illegal in so many countries that shouldn't be illegal. They are illegal and they are not. Morality is subjective, but at the same time they are illegal.
It is affecting women in so many ways. Child that they're not ready to raise because pregnancy have happened.
Are you pro-life or pro-choice? Look into the camera.
Definitely pro-choice.
If you're enjoying our conversation so far, please like and subscribe and help us grow, help us reach more people, and help us motivate us to do more content.
Yes.
Our next conversation will be around pro-life or pro-choice, pro-life versus pro-choice. In fact, I'm thinking of us having like
a debate,
with examples and debates that have been had over time, and maybe go through them.
Okay.
You get conversations that have been had around, arguments that have been had around pro-life and pro-choice and all of that, and go over them with time. So that would be us for today. I think I enjoyed the conversation.
Me too. It feels like something I've always wanted to talk about.
Next time we're talking about pro-life, pro-choice, and which one people would prefer.
Okay.
Which one you prefer? I want to put you on the spotlight so the hate can go towards you.
Yes, let the hate come to me because it's something I'm going through. I'm a woman.
Yeah. So that's not for me to say.
We love you.
Love you.
Know thyself. Love thyself. We love you.